Welcome to the channel, everybody. We're out on the golf course and we're testing golf clubs today. In this video, we're going to be focusing on the Ping iDi long iron. Now, there's a few options available that Ping are giving us, saying that this is focused maybe on the better golfer. We're going to put that to the test, telling us that we've got air, inner air, inside the head that's going to give us that optimal sound, optimal feel. I thought I'd heard it all when it comes to golf equipment. Now we've got air inside the heads. This is going to be definitely a little bit different. I'm excited to put this one to the test because my first performance inside the studio, it felt fantastic. Let's get it out there. Let's put it to the test. Let's see how this particular club performs in different environments. Now, if you can hear machines behind us, we're out early this morning because we're going to be mixing it with the greenkeepers. So we're trying to keep ahead of them as much as we possibly can. However, when I'm testing long irons out on the golf course, I want to put them to the test in a way in which I need them to perform when I'm performing on the golf course. So I want to hit different types of shots with these particular clubs. But first couple of shots off this 12th tee is I just want to get a sense of what does it feel like. I had a feel out of the studio. What does it feel like with the first couple of shots out here? Oh yeah, it's the same feel as I got inside there. It's like well, it just sounds and feels extremely powerful. That one turned over a little bit. Now, interestingly, and we're going to put this to the test as well, Ping's saying that we should be able to turn this club over easier, having a slightly shorter heel to toe type of setup on this particular model. It's going to allow us to be able to turn that ball over just a little bit easier. I don't know much about that other than the fact that they must have got some weight a little bit more in the heel to be able to slow that heel down, quicken up the toe and get that face to want to sort of wrap around the ball and get it turning over. Now, for a lot of you golfers out there, some of us do struggle to turn over long irons. With that flatter face, it makes it just a little bit harder to, let's say, turn it over. So that's maybe something that Ping have focused on. Let's go down the right-hand side and see if I can get this thing to really shift in the air. Oh, it just felt great. I didn't turn over a great deal, to be honest with you, but flight-wise, that was really quite nice. Not too poppy. What I mean by that is not too poppy up in the air, just a nice flight window. Let's see if I can, again, let's just see if I can turn it over just a little bit more. Might have to get the sense of kind of staying back on it a little bit just to hit it higher with a bit of draw this time. But first impressions, we're not got into looks yet, but first impressions from a feel point of view is just wow, feels great. Oh, that was a bit thin. That's that Healy thin shot. And there's nothing helping that coming back from that one there. But again, it went forward, didn't it? Even though it was really thin and really in the heel, I still got that performance there behind this club that's going to help push that ball forward. Let's see how they got on up the fairway. This ball here, being the miss hit at the heel, actually finished, well, I never quite got to the fairway off that back tee, and I'm a good 30, 40 yards shy of where the next two tee shots ended up. So from a forgiveness point of view, even though it felt like it really went forward, all right, it did land in a little bit of an upslope, but it really did fall short of where my other two positive strikes ended up. This was the shot that I tried to hit a little bit more of a draw with, and then further up over onto that left-hand side there is where the ball ended up with the shot that I just stood there and hit my stock shot, which really did turn over. We're going to hit some shots back here from the fairway just to see how it performs coming out of the fairway position, and then I'll pop one in the rough as well. But first impressions, when it comes to the feel side of it, the feel of it is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be interested to see what it feels like when I get it a little bit higher in the face, because sometimes, especially with Ping clubs in the past, I felt that I lose an awful lot of spin off the top part of the rail here, which allows that ball to, let's say, come out with less spin and then just dip a little bit. It also feels like it's massive amounts of vibration that runs up the shaft, which has actually kind of pushed me away from using Ping irons like these in the past. Let's get back to the fairway and hit a couple more shots. 3 shots that I'm going to set up in the fairway here. I've got the perfect lie. Now, this time of the year in the UK, you get this like burning fairways, so the fairways are burnt out an awful lot. So what that means is you're going to get patchy situations. You're going to get lies where you don't have a great deal of grass, which is going to be this particular one down here. This is going to be perfect. And I've got my last ball, which I'm going to take over into the rough. We're going to hit a shot out of the rough and see how this performs, because ultimately you want a utility iron, should we say, or like a hybrid. You want it to perform out of the rough because you need the help there when it comes to those shots. Now, I've got about 210 yards to the middle of this green. That pin is right at the back. And to be honest with you, I'm not actually expecting to hit the green. Percentage-wise, I'm kind of trying to get it into an area which is kind of around the green. As long as I can get it roughly around pin high or back to where that pin is, that's ideal for me. I'm not looking to hit the green. If I hit the green, it's an absolute bonus. So we're going to hit the stock shot, which is pretty much straight at it. Ball's below my feet on this particular lie. Now remember, on the last shot that I hit pretty much stock, I hit a bit of a draw. So let's see how this performs. Oh my goodness, that feels so good. Go up there then. Drawing it in off the bunker. Got a little bit of ground help, and that has got all the way back to that pin. That felt, honestly, I know you can't get the sense of what it feels like not hitting it yourselves, but I've got to say, from a softness point of view, you talk about buttery feel, it doesn't get any more buttery than that. Right, off this lie that we've got here now, which is a little bit more sat down. So this is going to be harder to get up in the air. In a normal set of irons, I'd really struggle to get this up in the air, expecting the strike to be lower, which is then going to get the launch to be lower. However, with all the weight that's obviously been pushed down into the sole of this club, this should help it get up in the air off this really, really tight lie. Yeah, a little bit thin. Look at the flight, straight at it. Need a bit of ground help forward. If I could hit shots like that on a regular basis from 200 plus yards out onto a green, I'd probably be a half decent golfer. Let's get over to the rough here and let's see how it performs from here. So I'm not going to give myself the best lie. I'm kind of going to nestle it down a little bit. Look at that, there you go. So that's kind of sat down there. We've got a little bit of grass between the club face and the ball. So I'm expecting it to come out with a little bit less spin than I got certainly from the fairway there. And also, whenever I come out of the roughy kind of areas, I don't expect it to get a great deal of shape. So again, I want to play this as more of a straight shot. But let's just try and get it somewhere around the green. Be interesting to see how this comes out of here. Oh yeah, a little bit of a push out to the right. It's probably going to catch the trap on the right short of the green. Oh, it did. It hit the face of it and then popped out over to the right. But I know the grass is kind of laying with me and it's kind of thin this time of year, but there was no concern there. There was no sense that the club was getting stuck in the grass. So I think that's a real positive from this particular lie. All in all, 3 shots that, well, let's go and have a little look at them. All in all, 3 shots that I've hit there. Again, feel off the face, lovely. Now, normally I like to try and rehearse and remember all the tech that goes into these clubs. However, on this particular, the iDi, there's an awful lot that's gone into it. So I'm just going to kind of go from what Ping is saying here, but we've got this inner air. We talked about it on the intro of this video, but this is kind of like a pocket of air that's inside the head, which allows us to be able to take the undesirable kind of vibrations out of the head, which then gives us a better acoustics and feel off the face. And generally you'll find that sound and feel kind of go hand in hand. But my first feelings from that is I'm definitely sensing something different because it feels different. It feels soft for an iron that kind of performs or looks like that particular one. We've also got a metal wood like construction. So we're going to get an I-beam inside the head, which again is probably going to allow to help for a good solid structure in that face, which is going to give us consistency. I'm not getting a great deal of flexing off the face. There is a hint of it, but it's not huge amounts that I've, let's say, sensed in the past. What I mean by that is when you get a hollow body construction, you get these companies focusing on thinner faces, trying to get you more flex, giving you more ball speed with your strikes and getting it out there a little bit further. But ultimately, this is a long iron. You want some consistency with it. So you don't want the ball just floating off the face and going out there miles. You want to be able to control the strike, control the performance of that particular shot and get it out there with some consistency. So feeling a little bit of flex, but not enough to, let's say, be, I don't know, too negative for my game. It's still giving me that solid performance. Out the rough, hit that bunker there, which was actually a good thing, and you could tell that it's, even though it's smashed into the face of that bunker, it's kind of really shot off and nearly got almost to the level of where we've got the other balls up here. And you got to think, if I hadn't have hit the face, I'd have shot through the back, and that's because it's come off with a little bit less spin than what I would have got from the fairway. And you could see from the flight that when it shot out, it didn't want to kind of rise on me too much. It was just trying to get, well, it was just going forward, which is telling me that there's not a great deal of spin to pick it up. And that spin is what's going to, let's say, control the flight and control the floaty feel off the face. However, look, it actually got beyond where these other two shots ended up. This particular one being the second shot, so this was the one that kind of caught it a little bit more off the bottom of the club, but then I was on a tighter lie, got a little bit of ground help, got it up onto the front of this green, that pin right at the back here today. And then this is the first shot that I hit, which caught the kind of corner of that bunker and kicked it a little bit left. But 2 out of 3 shots to still be able to hit the green, and then one, which is from 200 odd yards away, is finishing just right of the green. I've got plenty of room to work with. I'm impressed. I've got to say, I'm impressed. It's done well. It's hit some nice shots off the tee. It's hit some nice shots into the green. I think this is a club that could really, really perform. So we've got a little bit of what I would call a back plate on the back of this club. Visually, lovely. I mean, if you had this on the shelf, you would definitely consider looking at this club, or certainly pick it up off the rack, or I certainly would anyway. From a visual point of view, nice thick bottom part of it, which is probably going to give lots of players confidence that they've got a little bit of help underneath. When you set up down by the ball, not seeing a great deal of offset, which you've seen in previous generations of ping long irons or sort of utility irons. It's kind of your traditional kind of, I would say, ping top line, not overly thin, but not overly too thick either. But then when I look down, I can see lots of this back edge here, which for a club that's been designed, let's say, for better players, I'm not sure better players want to see a great deal of that. However, for those players out there that want, let's say, confidence, inspiring, this thing is definitely going to give you that. And then on the back, you've got this like plate. Now, what they've done here is they've tried to give us a club that's going to maximise MOI, so maximise forgiveness, take the weight out of the head, distribute it around the head, give us maximum forgiveness, but they're going to also push that CG position lower in the face, allowing us to launch up in the air. Now, again, we talk about better players. Better players want to be able to, you remember, they're players, these are people that can control their ball flight. They want to be able to control their ball flight. They've got to a level which is allowing them to stand there and see a window that they want to hit that ball through. So for this particular shot, which, let's say I want to keep it a little bit up the left here on the 13th hole and try and hit it maybe just a little bit lower, prevailing wind maybe just a fraction into. I want to try and launch this out there nice and low and see if I can do that, because ultimately this club being designed to get it up in the air for lots of players, giving them the confidence. Let's see if I can actually get this club to come down with this particular ball flight. We tried to rise a little bit, but I would say that's a pretty damn good flight. Oh yeah, plenty of ground help as we got it down there. Let's just see if I can go a little bit lower again, because it did pop up. I kind of want to get it down. I want to be able to scoot along this top of this gorse that's in front of the tee here. Remember, it's howling wind. It's not today, but let's say pretend that it is. Let's see if I can really launch this down. I'm going to pop it a little bit further back in my stance and trap it a fraction more. Yeah, that wasn't bad. It's not as low as I kind of want it to be. I mean, I've really trapped that. I've really kind of kept the loft off. I've kept the handle forward. I've not got that. It just wants to pop up on me. Let's go one last one. Let's really back foot it now and try and keep that loft off a little bit more. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. It's not as low as I would, let's say, expect to see a shot that I'm trying to trap and turn it over like that. But all in all, it's pretty good. I mean, you would take it, absolutely take it. Again, sense, feel, 3 shots. 3 shots pretty much out the middle, and the feel off the face, again, really good. I mean, 3 shots here that we've got, okay, yes, they didn't go as low as I was hoping that they would go, but from a consistency point of view, when you're talking about flexing of faces and talking about getting consistency across the face of the club, you want a club that's going to, ultimately, you don't want jumps. You don't want clubs that are going to go and you hit one and you go, oh yeah, I hit that really well, and you get up there and it's gone 10, 15 yards past where your actual shot should have gone to. I've got that in with an area which is, again, I've got plenty of ground help, so getting some inconsistencies of how the ball's going to land. Did it get the flight that I wanted it to get from the low strike? I would say probably not. Having said that, I think it's probably low enough, if I'm honest. But you got to remember, this is designed for players that want to be able to control their ball flight, want to be able to control their window. Did it get into the window that I wanted it at? No. So that is probably one negative with this iDi club. Now, something I mentioned earlier with this particular club, and what Ping are saying, they're saying that they've got a club that they can easily turn over. So they're saying that it's slightly shorter than previous generation. However, it's saying that it comes out as like a standard 1 degree flatter than what we're seeing at previous generations. Now, I might have got this slightly wrong in the fact that I always thought that you get the club a little bit more upright, and I will tend to get the kind of faceplane tilt effect of when you get it flat on the ground, you're going to get that ball to come out pretty much straight. If you tilt it up this way, so more upright, you're going to get that faceplane tilt to come up, and therefore that angle then is going to start to move more this way. So we're going to help you hit a bit more of a shape. To then flatten it down this way, it's then going to want to kick it out to this way. So I'm a little bit confused into what I'm reading from the spec sheet, saying that it's a little bit flatter. I'd have to probably do a little bit more research into that. I would expect to hit this ball with a little bit less draw, if I'm honest with you. However, what we're going to do focus on now is see how high it actually does go. So if I wanted to really launch one up off here now with no real shape, I'm going to lean back on it, push that ball position a little bit further forward, tee it a fraction higher, and see how that performs. Oh yeah, no drama. Look how high that is. Absolutely no drama at all. The next test that I wanted to do with this particular club is I'm going to just tee it fractionally higher, because I know that, let's say a ball is sat up in the rough, I know that in previous generations, if you get it a little bit high on the face, you can start to feel that shuddering up the face. So I'm going to get this a bit higher, so imagine it a bit like I've accidentally teed it too high, which I do see lots of players do, or it's just sat up a little bit in the rough. Let's just get it off that top rail a little bit more and see how that performs. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I've struck that just really well, but that has absolutely flown like a rocket and has gone even higher again, because I've probably teed it higher, a higher loft at the top. So it should launch a little bit higher. Let's get it, see if I can get it a bit more off that top rail. 2 great shots there, great feel off the face again. Yeah, there you go, there's that one off the top rail. And you could probably hear it because it's quite clunky. And they have not lost that vibration, because that really hurt my right hand there. So we've not lost that vibration off the top rail there, which is a shame. I definitely think this is something that Ping need to look at in the future with all of their clubs, with certainly their longer irons and things. It's just that little bit higher on the face. So just be mindful of that, and make sure if you're going to go for a club like this, that you go a little bit lower in your tee position, and just be mindful when you're coming out of the rough, if it's teed up a little bit, that you might get a strike that's a little bit high, and you'll see from the result of that shot, it's not going to have gone very far. The shot that came right off the top of the club finished way short of what I would see from the other 2 shots, which are further down there on the left-hand side. 2 fantastic shots down there. 2 negatives that I've got with this particular club, and there's only 2 if I'm honest with you. If you get that strike too high on the face, I don't want to see as much vibration. I know you're going to lose ball speed, I know you're going to lose spin, you're going to do it on every club out there on the market. However, I just would love Ping to try and deal with the massive vibrations that come from a really high strike off the face. You could argue that you shouldn't really be up there, but ultimately we're golfers, we're going to miss hit shots. And having it up that high and getting that vibration that actually kind of hurt the hand is a real negative for me. The other one is just that I didn't quite get the launch window that I wanted when I wanted that like kind of lower shot from a club that's designed for a better player. But I've got to say, what kind of let's say overrides that to a point is the feel off the face. This thing is as soft as you're going to get in any setup on any golf club out there on the market right now. That pocket of air inside the club, even though I can't test for that, I'm sensing something different with this club, and the only thing really different when it comes to that is that pocket of air that's inside there, and maybe that is having that effect. But I'd like to hear down in the comments, are you somebody that uses a kind of utility iron? Are you somebody that uses a 3-iron in the top end of your bag like I'm looking to experiment with? I'd like to hear down there. Also, are you going to go out and test the iDi club from Ping? Again, I'd like to hear from you as well. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again on the next video.